Please state your name.
Brooke Oot.
What was your position in the nursing home?
Certified nursing assistant.
How long did you work as a certified nursing assistant in the nursing home?
2 years.
And what did your job entitle?
I would help the nurses with their tasks after school.
Okay. So what did a typical day look like?
I would come in after school. It would usually be like around 4 or 5, so I would help the nurses set up for dinner, and I would help get the dinner to the tables depending on to the patients depending on their dietary needs and other specifications. And after that, I'd help get the patient or the elderly from their dinner to the living room or their rooms or wherever they needed to be.
Did patients seem overall happy, angry, antisocial when they were checked in?
There's always a range of personalities. Some of them would be more angry. They wanted to seclude themselves. Their families had left them at these nursing homes. They didn't want to be there. They weren't trying to make friends. And a lot of them loved the sense of community that a nursing home gave. They'd have people to go to dinner with, like they usually wouldn't in an apartment, or they wouldn't have people looking down on them or being condescending because they're older, because everyone in the nursing home is older. Everybody's in the same situation. They get the same jokes. They were there for the same, histories, and they had the same childhood basically, and they can relate more, and they live in the community, so they were happy. For the most part, they were happy.
Okay, so there was a wide range of emotions.
Yes.
Have you ever experienced any unjust treatment towards patients by caregivers?
Most caregivers were good with the patients. In my personal experience, we didn't have many people who were, mean. Most people knew how to get along and joke with the older people. But there has been one person I've worked with who was not as kind as the rest. She was more aggressive.
Could you give us a brief summary of an encounter?
Well, the one encounter I've had with her was we were walking back from dinner, and the patient, the elderly man that we were working with, had been kind of fussy at dinner. He wanted certain things a certain way, and she had already been like, you have to have this is what it says on your thing, and older people, I'm paying for this. So they had already had kind of a rough start, and then he was walking back to his room, and I guess he was going too slow because he was already upset, so she told him to hurry up and ended up pushing his stroller to kind of make him hurry up, and he ended up falling. So she was being aggressive with him, and that's that's the one experience I had with her.
Okay. What was your reaction towards the actions?
Well, I stepped in. I could see she was stressed and took over, kind of said, hey, let's go do this. Well, she kind of went and de-stressed, and that's how I handled that.
So, what type of action was taken against the caregiver?
Well, I had talked to the other nurses and the other nurses' assistants, and they all had said that they had also had encounters with her and patients, so we ended up reporting her to the manager of the facility, and in a couple of weeks she ended up being suspended. So I guess once we reported her, everyone else started coming up with their own stories and their own encounters. So.
Are there any signs to watch for abused seniors?
Yeah, well, with some of them, you just need to make sure if you come into a room and they're quiet or they seem scared of certain people, that's usually a sign. Or we were taught this when we were being trained, but if they have scars on their arms that aren't usually there, and if they can't remember or won't tell why they're there, that's usually another sign. And just your loved ones, so if you go to the hospital and you visit them and they're not acting like themselves, You'll feel it. You'll know.
What advice would you give to new families putting their loved ones in nursing homes?
You have to check out the nursing home. You have to know where you're sending the people that you love. Like, you have to talk to the facility, get recommendations from the people already living there, talk to the nurses, get a feel for where you're sending them, get a feel for the facility.
All right, that was very informational. I'd like to thank you for your time and participation.